It wasn't my fault.
Oh,
What would our intro song be?
Our intro.
Our intro song?
Yeah, we need one.
YMCA?
Yeah, we probably should welcome people, but I don't know. But
Rock
today's
Me
kind of,
Amadeus.
we should, especially on a day like today, because we got some cool stuff going on, don't we, Frank? I think.
Oh yeah. Oh, what's his name? I mean, do you want to let John know? It's a surprise. Go ahead, Zach.
Yeah,
No, just keep everything from me.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, Frank hooked it up today.
Don't.
Frank. Okay. You don't want me to, you don't want to know?
No, I do want to know.
Oh. Frank hooked it up today.
Well,
You got so Nick Walker and Steve Weinberger are going to be joining us today pretty soon. So that'll be cool.
On this show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
This show, I got.
Yes. Did you win? Did you win, Frank? Because you bet what he would say.
On the show.
I said you'd say no shit, but I think Frank thought you'd say something else. So I think we both.
We lost.
I think we lost.
You both lost. Oh.
Yeah. But that's all right. Yeah. So they'll be coming down to hang out today, which will be cool. We're excited about that. So you guys can throw some stuff out there. Hopefully, we'll be able to.
So Weinberger's okay with me?
Yep.
Yes.
You also, I got you're okay to go to Bev's gym anytime you'd like. No shit. No, seriously.
And not leave with stitches.
Nope.
All right, that's good.
Cool. That's
I'll
awesome.
bring it up. Yeah. So look, the first couple of shows that we did, we wanted to see how it worked, feeling out process, and now it's time to bring in the heavy hitters. We got to start bringing. I want to bring in Lee Haney. I want to bring in Phil Heath, Mike O'Hearn,
Jay Cutler,
all the Olympia winners and such, and Brandon Curry and people like that. Because why not? Because we're going to ask them things that other people aren't.
Yes. And also, I will say this, and it's kind that Frank says we, but like I didn't do this at all. Frank did this, so it wasn't me at all. I'm glad that he is kind enough to throw me into the mix. It's very nice, but I didn't do it.
Well, look, we're all putting our names on this, so now it's time. We get it to the level that
That's awesome. You're pulling all these names, man. That's good.
You know what? Here's one question I wanted to ask them. But I think it'd be good to know where you guys land too, because this is one of those really important questions to get to know somebody. When you use toilet paper, do you use the fold or the scrunch method?
Wow.
Fold.
Yeah, I'm with John. You know what? I make a shit mitt. You know. You roll the toilet paper around, but then Zach, the finale has to be a baby wipe.
That's what I'm saying. You got to finish with the baby wipe because
So we got the comments are a little bit. We only got two of them right now, but one says fold, one says both. I think I'm a both person. I think it depends on the mood.
Wow, or the mess.
Really? Yeah.
Well, Derek, Nick Walker isn't here right now, so asking him if he uses baby oil on his muscles right this minute may not be the best use of a question, but it's good to know.
We should bring that up because people ask me all the time. They're like, "What do you use for like posing oil?" What do you use for posing oil? And I said, "I don't know, John. The best thing I ever used was almond oil because it sucks up." Oil. Yeah, it sucks into the skin. Like it's better than baby oil. I always thought baby oil made you blurry.
Blurry? Oh, really? I mean, I don't know this stuff. That's a good point.
I'm Italian, so I use olive oil.
Yeah, olive oil, almond oil, stuff like that.
Olive oil works great.
Did you use Jenko from The Godfather? Is there a specific
find it? I would have if I could have found it.
Oh God.
Let's see here, but what's the deal then? Because I know Frank said Nick has been in. I don't even say the news. He's been on social media a lot, I guess, because over the weekend he was busy doing stuff. So he was. I guess a lot of people guest pose, right, at Jim's show at the Pittsburgh Pro.
Yeah,
Normally goes?
Yeah,
basically,
everybody does.
it's like the pre-Olympia warm-up. You know, if like people look at everybody on stage and be like, "Oh my God, that guy's not gonna win." They only got 5 months to the show.
Yeah, exactly. That's the hysterical part about that. I mean, it's you go, it's like what 6-7 months from the
Yeah.
Olympia, and you got the whole Olympia lineup on stage. They're all off season, and it's like,
Look,
yeah, hey, he's gonna win.
he's gonna win. Oh, or as soon as somebody wins the Arnold, they're like, "Oh, he's gonna win the Olympia now." Oh. It's like whoever wins the show, like, oh, that guy's gonna be top 5. He won the Niagara. Like, it's like, come on, man. Like, until you're standing there. But we just talked about this, Zach. It's like, well, John, you would know. Like, I just started doing 100 carbs. I already lost like 5.5 pounds in a day and a half, 2 days, because it just flushes out water. Like,
Yeah.
you can look night and day in like 2 weeks, but we're talking about 6 months here, 5 months.
Right. Exactly. You look night and day in 12 hours.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
6, 7, 5, 6 months is an eternity.
I remember,
and especially now, Frankie, you notice this because you're old school. Back in the day, the guys would they would be off gear pretty much in the off season, right?
Yep.
They'd eat and train, okay, and then they'd go like 8 weeks, maybe 10, right, before the show, and then they'd get on a cycle, start dieting, change their training, and transform amazingly from that off season to competition shape, insane competition shape, and you'd have this sort of ebb and flow all year. Now you see some of these guys 5 months out, and they look like you're 2 weeks out. Some of them, not all. But what I'm saying is they maintain that condition, that shape, that size for much longer periods of time now than they used to.
Yeah, it's funny. Back in the day, if you look too, like I remember going to Gold's Venice and seeing like top 5 Olympia bodybuilder. I don't want to name him, but he was a shell of himself. Like, and then you're like, wow, I could beat this guy, and then like you see him 16 weeks later and you're like, oh my God, this guy is huge. Or they would guest pose like water balloons. They'd be like 300 pounds with their gut hanging over. Remember when Vince McMahon did the WBF?
WBF, yeah.
The majority of the guys looked like horrible. Like they couldn't even, like you.
When they did the drug testing? When they made that mandatory drug. Yeah, they looked awful.
Let's
be honest.
You're totally right. But it's what you just said about seeing a Mr. Olympia being like a shell of himself. But that was ubiquitous. They were all like that. I mean, they all did it. They were just off season, and then they'd only do this little run up to the show, and the changes you get to see in them were just astonishing. I remember Tom Platz, getting ready for the Olympia. He started, it was just, I saw him every day. He just looked the same. And then all of a sudden, within like just a couple weeks, he was like completely different.
Just blew up. Jeez.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
So, okay, Scatman wants to know, he says, I know Romano loves microwave DMs. But what are Zach and Frank's vices? Frank, do you have a vice that you...
Wait, what's a microwave DM?
We talked about that once about microwaving him. I do remember that callback. Thank you. That was nice.
Could chocolate be a vice?
Sure. Why not? Yeah.
Put chocolate on a cricket, I'll eat it.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like I'll eat anything chocolate. What's my vice? Well,
chocolate
Phil
works.
Heath. Well, it's funny. Phil Heath and Mike O'Hearn, we all did a podcast together. Okay. And the question was, who would be the villain and who would be the star of the movie, the good guy? And Phil Heath said, are you kidding me? He goes, you would definitely be the villain because you have such a bad temper. And I'm like, what? What do you say? So I was like, is that could possibly win?
Okay, so your temper. Okay,
I'm trying to relate it to bodybuilding.
Let's see. My O'Hearn would be.
Yeah, what's your vice? Your vice is death races, nearly dying.
I mean, listen, my vice. If you throw an IPA at me, odds are I'm going to taste it. That is for sure. Like but
we had a regular beer the other day.
Oh yeah. So we were at this, so we went to this, like holiday showcase, and Frank and I were there kind of jumping around, meeting all these folks. We met the guy, John, you probably met him, the guy who created the Handy, a robotic masturbator. You've heard of him, right?
Oh, we're good friends. Yeah, I tested the first 30 prototypes.
So, but then I'm like, okay, I'm sitting there and I'm like looking around, and there's food everywhere, but it's out in the open buffet style. So people are coughing on it, putting their disgusting germs on it, and we can't eat it. Basically, Frank and I kind of look at each other, and and then
I was like, no way.
Yeah. So then I'm like, I'll have a beer or two, and I hadn't eaten all day because I did like my stomach was kind of topsy turvy, so I had like 2 beers, a glass of wine, and my face starts getting like bright red. And it's just like, it looked like I was absolutely like trashed. I wasn't, but I'm like, that's enough.
They had the Handy, which is a Swedish, what do you want to call it? Masturbator or what? I don't know what it was, but it was mounted to a desk. So it had this thing, and it like just moved back and forth and all weird kind of things and stuff. So we did a video from that, but which
I don't know if it's going to see the light of day yet. I'm going to have to take a look. But also, I thought it was a bottle at first. It looked like I thought it was a water bottle, and then I see when I walk up to it, because it looked like it was on a table. I walk up to it, and there's something moving up and down.
Oh
like, my God! Wait a minute! Wow, like they're really doing nice add-ons to water bottles nowadays.
I know. It was like, what the hell is this thing? But it was interesting.
Now, where did you find this item?
It was at this showcase, this product showcase. Dude, so first of all, just a handful of people. It's not a scam title, moi me. Dude, they'll be here when they get here. Said they'll be joining us at some point, and they will. So when they're here...
Yeah.
People are so impatient.
Like, I know. What do you want me to do?
The show's like an hour long. Hang on a minute,
10:30, and if I know Steve, it'll be 10:45.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So just hang out with us. Or don't.
On their thumbs waiting for us.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's it. But somebody had a question, and this is I think a good one. It was Simon. I gotta find it, buddy. All right, here it is. Was the Pittsburgh guest posing full of top pros back in the day, or were top competitors? To bust competing all year? Okay. Basically, he says, since now guys barely compete, they have to go to Pittsburgh. I think he's saying, were there more people guest posing there back in the day that were of more notable folks, or has that changed at all, or no?
I mean, it depends on your view of bodybuilding. I mean, look, back in the day, you had Branch Warren, Phil Heath, like, Jay Cutler, everyone would come out. I mean, so
Cormier was always out there.
Cormier, I mean, it was always an event. It's basically whoever's in the Olympias. But the only person missing was Hadi Chopin, right? Because I guess visa, right? So that's an issue. And then
it's tough.
What about Big Ramy didn't show up either?
I think he had a visa issue as well. So I mean, that's the world we live in now. But I mean, Andrew Jack wasn't there, right? So you had Samson. I mean, and a lot of the classic physique guys were there. So you had Urs and your Ramon Dino and C-Bum didn't pose. I know he was there in street clothes, but yeah, I mean, that's a difference of how it was back in the day. Now you have the classic physique guys there. And I would be shocked if people weren't there for them. You know what I mean? They're so popular now.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Plus, it was always like an homage to the Manions, their show. He said, "You're going to show up for the Prez," So,
yeah.
and it was an opportunity to be seen by important people. If you're like, you got all the top officials are also there on top of the president. So you've got a very target-rich environment to show up in if you're looking for get noticed, right?
Andrew Jack was there. A couple people have noted. Mark and Eric, thanks for that.
Feedback too from, I mean, like we said, you got 5 months. So what better to get feedback?
Exactly. Yeah. By the best.
You think it hurts at all? Like now, like when you come in not the best shape and now people are like looking at you a different way?
I think it's like the kitchen skylight Facebook photos. You know, you get these amazing shots of people, you know, with the right lighting and the filters, you know, and they process this photo to the nth degree and post it online. And you're looking at it and you go, wow, this guy's going to win everything. And, you know, then, you know, 2 weeks later they show up and they're like, where's the guy online? What happened to him? You know, who's that? You know, you look a little bit like him, but nothing like the photos, you know. So
like a dating app.
So what you've done is you've set the stage. You've presented yourself in such a way that people think, well, if he looks like that good 2 weeks out in the kitchen, imagine what he's going to look like online. When in fact it's the other way around. So the Pittsburgh Pro is the same. The Pittsburgh show is the same thing in a sense that you show up and people are, you know, looking at you and thinking, wow, man, 5 months from now, this guy's going to look insane. And then 5 months goes by and they look like shit. So it plays both ways. I mean, you gotta, if you've got that momentum going to the Pittsburgh show and you've gotten good feedback, then you got to squeeze that out, man, and make it last and run it up and take the most out of it, you know, to the show. But sometimes that doesn't happen, just like the skylight kitchen photos. So you got a lot of anticipation and then the actual show comes and then, you know, you got the letdown more often than not.
I would be like, if I was getting ready for if I was a bodybuilder getting ready for the Olympia too, when do you start your prep? And knowing that you're going to be in posing trunks at Pittsburgh, how does that, like, you know, affect that? Because you got to be somewhat in shape, right? I would think. Or you have to be incredibly huge. Like Dorian Yates used to show up guest posing like 300 plus pounds.
Immense. Yeah, huge.
But not looking, there were no abs or anything, maybe a top ab or whatever, but I mean, he was huge. So he had that shock factor. So I wonder what the thought process, like some of these guys like Urs and Ramon, like looked incredible.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, wow, man.
I remember one year I was at the Pittsburgh and Dexter's show was like 2 weeks out. He looked amazing. He like obliterated everybody, you know?
Yeah.
But it just depends. I think a lot of it depends on where these guys, like you said, Frankie, where do you start the prep? I mean, where? Some guys now are staying because they're guest posing, they're working weekends, you know, they're doing appearances. So they're staying in shape, a lot better shape, a lot closer to contest shape for a lot longer period of time. It's much different now. Back in the day, it was pretty much, you had off season, you had contest prep, and that was it. Now the lines are blurred because you have appearances, you have commitments, people are doing videos. There's a lot of social media doesn't want to see you fat. So a lot's different now.
It's interesting too. Like you have Dorian Yates coming in 300 pounds plus, like a shock factor. But then you have a Labrada who's known for his cuts and his symmetry and stuff, who didn't look nearly as impressive on stage standing next to a 300-pound Dorian Yates. But then come Olympia time, it's a whole other ball game. You know what I mean? Like the guy came in, he's shredded, he looks great, you know, it flows. Right. So you got more shock value from the bigger guys like Marcus Rule and all those guys were like, whoa, that guy's huge. He's going to win the Olympia. You know?
Marcus Rule in the offseason was a monster, man.
Dennis Wolf, too. Jesus.
Yes.
Whoa.
Freaking Nasser was a ginormous dude in the offseason, too.
Nasser's one of the most underrated bodybuilders ever, man. That guy was insane. Like, you look back at pictures of him, like, the guy wasn't missing much. He was definitely, he could have been an Olympia winner.
I used to train at Gold's Gold's Gym in San Diego, and Rick Stevens' place, and Milos and Nasser were training together at the time. They were training partners. Man, they would sit on that couch in the I used to call it the green room, like the warm up area, and they would just try to psych each other up, you know, to get out there and start training. It would take them like half an hour to get, like, you know, to the point where they could go, because they killed each other, man. Watching them train was insane. They were brutal.
All right. So Scatman's got a question. I think it kind of fits in here. He says, you know, why do lineups get backlash? Because their favorite veterans aren't competing. How can the bodybuilding industry have a future if people can't stop talking about the past I think he's saying comparing the past and present, or so, X amount of people used to show up, or we used to have all these people and now we don't. I get what he's saying. But does that happen in any other sports? Like, it seems like it
football.
would. Yeah.
They're like, if you played in the Lawrence Taylor era, this quarterback wouldn't last 2 seconds. Like,
Right.
like if they hit hard, or receivers were covered different in the NFL back in the day because they can use their hands differently. Or if LeBron James played in the Michael Jordan era, like, and he got smashed in the head by Bill Laimbeer. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, you say that all the time. Like, but it's natural to compare champions to people are going to be comparing Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes to every other quarterback coming up. It's just the way it is. People set precedent.
I think social media has had a tremendous influence on that with respect to bodybuilding anyway, not football. Because in the core essence of your effort in bodybuilding is to be seen. So you want your name, you want recognition, you want people to know who you are, you want that association as hard and as fast as you can. So it used to be by competing. So guys would compete. I think Silvio Samwell competed 13 times in 1 year. Lavroni competed a shit ton of times. I mean, these guys would compete and compete and compete and compete so they'd be seen. Now you don't have to. Now you got Instagram, post photos, so you can actually be more seen now and get more recognition and more notoriety globally by playing, with Instagram rather than showing up at, 5 shows a year. So I think that has got to factor into the equation, because it's if the intent is to be seen, then why compete? Do social media. But when you didn't have social media, you had no choice.
The top 3 classic physique guys on Instagram, Ramon, Urs, and Bumstead, collectively have over 30 million followers. The top 3 social media open bodybuilding, you have Derek, Hadi, right, and Samson or whatever. They have less than 6 million. So you tell me where the sport of bodybuilding is headed as far as fans. Now, if you have 26 million followers like Bumstead, right, would you think that 10 million of those fans would buy the Olympia pay-per-view or watch the Olympia pay-per-view? So where are these fans coming from? You know what I'm saying? Like, where are they coming from?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
They're not following the sport, but they're just following on Instagram. I don't know.
Well, that's an interesting question, because
normally
what draws the attention is the freak.
There he is.
What's up, man?
Oh yeah.
What's up, Nick?
He's frozen. He arrived frozen.
There he is.
Now
he's not. Now he's moving. Now he's sideways. Now he's up. Now he's down.
We got the posing of.
Yep.
Nice.
Hey, Nick, what's up?
Welcome, Nick.
Okay.
Can't hear
him. Nope, can't hear him.
And we got a Steve.
Go.
Let's see.
Steve's entering.
Steve almost entered the chat. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, there he is.
All right.
Hello.
We got everybody.
What's up?
How you
we
doing?
can hear you. We can hear you.
Can we hear everybody here?
Yep, that's Steve's phone. I know that phone at Bev's from anywhere off his phone.
There he is.
That's your office phone?
I'm not answering no phone calls.
No.
Serious business. I'm gonna close the door.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow. Even
What's
now.
up, Nick? Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, now we can hear
definitely,
you.
man.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
You know, in 5 minutes, they're going to be like, hey, Steve, can I talk to you for a second?
Nah, I'm not answering no doors and no phones.
I like when Steve's on the phone and the door's open, and then people just come in and start talking to him. Like they have zero.
No, I'm in the middle of a conversation and I'll start another conversation.
Oh, man. Good Lord. Well, listen, thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. I know Frank.
Thanks for coming.
Frank set this up. I got I got my my favorite
Dressed
sweatshirt
very
on
well
today.
dressed. You're the best dressed out there.
Oh, you say
I had to
that.
represent the Olympia today.
You're second best.
Yeah. Cool.
But
Well,
yeah,
so Frank,
good.
do you obviously you know Steve, and I know John, you know Steve, but do you know Nick? Because I've never met Nick in person, but how well do you know him?
You talking about?
Nick is a great
Yeah.
guy.
Not
Nick is
very.
very to the point. He's no bullshit. He says what's on his mind, and he always does what he says. Honestly, he's a pretty straightforward guy, which is what I like about him.
I think I met Nick backstage at his first Olympia. That's
Okay.
Yeah, I think that we did meet there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, just obviously see everybody. You think you know everybody because you see everybody on Instagram and social media, but you really don't know anybody. You know what I'm saying? But we'll get back to it. So, Steve, we want to talk about the New York Pro.
Yeah.
Coming up this weekend. Next,
It's going to be a
right?
great show, honestly. I think it's the best New York Pro ever. And to get into that top 5, you're going to have to be really good, really good. Just getting in that top 5 is going to be an accomplishment.
Wow.
So now you raise the prize money, right?
30,000 in the ring, yes.
Wow.
Wow.
That's awesome.
All right.
That's awesome. So Nick,
That's
you're the
great.
front runner. You're the front runner to take this, right? Like,
Absolutely.
so tell me what's special about the New York Pro.
Well, this is kind of where I'm from, and I already won it a couple years ago, but that was when it was in Florida. So, I mean, that was awesome, right? Because it's still the New York Pro, but it's not the same as it is actually being in your backyard.
Yeah.
And that's why I decided to even come home at like 14 weeks.
Gotcha.
Prep, hour drive down. So
Bad connection.
Did you have family and friends say, "Hey, Nick, can you get me tickets?" That's always the case when you're competing at home. Can you get
luckily,
me
no. Everyone would just ask me when they're going on sale, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Pay attention to the site,
You got to nip that shit in the bud, otherwise you're gonna sign over your prize money for tickets for everybody.
Oh, I know.
Like everyone thinks everything's for free, right? Like nobody pays bills.
Well,
Even
it's like you help some people, and then they expect help every time. You give an inch, they take a mile. So I'm good.
I need tickets for my friend and then my cousin and like Steve.
Yeah, can you give me one? Oh, wait. My mom, my sister, my brother, my friend, my cousin. We all need one. I don't care, bro.
I went to this steakhouse and this guy's like, I'm a big bodybuilding fan. He loves Steve. And I'm like, he goes, do you think you can get me tickets to the universe? I said, yeah, I'll ask Steve. I go, how many you need? He goes, 14.
No.
So I said to Steve, I need 14 tickets to the universe. He's like, all right.
Thing, right? If it's like 1 or 2, like, okay, cool. 14? Nah, bro.
And the motherfucker didn't even show up. Steve
this
got
week, all the weasels come out. All the weasels come out this week. It's Weasel Week. People call it Prep Week. I call it Weasel Week.
You be hiding in the back. Wait, is Steve
I got plenty of friends this week. Sunday, they don't know me.
Yeah.
But this week, I got more than enough friends.
Everybody wants to be Steve's best friend this week.
This week, right? Weasel Week.
After this week, things go back to normal.
Yeah. Sunday, it'll be back to normal. Saturday night, actually.
So I guess we'll talk about, look, the first thing everyone's talking about is the Pittsburgh Pro. Anytime you do anything on social media, like, look, you guest post, 50% of the people love you, 50% of the people hate you, no matter what. You can look the best you ever, but that's the way it is because your competitors have fans and they fucking hate you. So like, that's just like the way it is. What did you think? And like, we were just talking about this before you get on. There's 5 months to the Mr. Olympia. Like, you know what I mean? Like, anytime someone guest pose, remember when Dorian would guest pose, he'd be like 350 pounds, and they'd be like, is he going to be able to get in shape? And like, then he would win with straight ones. You know what I'm saying? Or some guy would show up shredded, and they're like, wow, he looks amazing. He's 16th. Like, so there's no indication of anything. What did you think of the feedback that you got, Nick, on social from your guest pose?
I mean, look, I even texted Steve about it. He gave me his, truthful opinion. But the reality is, from anyone who's not, I feel, important in the scene, I laugh. I think it's comical because I'm a week out. I know I'm in
And
great
honestly,
shape.
let me interrupt Nick right now. I've seen plenty of guys look like shit on Wednesday and Saturday look like a diamond. It doesn't matter
Well,
what you look like
that's
on Friday or Sunday. It matters what you look like come prejudging Saturday morning. It doesn't matter the day
right.
before or the day after. How many guys the day after? Oh, I carved up. You should have seen how good I look.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you're probably holding 10
Yeah.
pounds of fucking water.
Yeah.
right. But
Shoulda,
but that's what I was getting at. So yeah, sure I was holding water. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I literally drove 5-6 hours that same day,
Yep.
got on stage 2 hours later, full of food and water. Like I wasn't peaking for this show, for a guest
Right.
posing. Like that's not my my winning show is this weekend. So when people are like, "Oh my god," I'm like, dude, you guys just don't know how this works, man. Like, so normally, like when comments like that they don't bother me anymore because I have full trust in myself. I have full trust in Matt, and me and Matt never miss. And we're already right now from Saturday till now, we're already down 7 pounds.
At what show have you
So-
ever had a problem not being in condition? Because I'm looking back
Never.
at all the shows you did, you're always in probably one of the best conditioned
Always.
athletes in the show. So now all of a sudden you forgot how to.
Yeah.
How to
Well, the thing is, I think the bigger you get, the more muscle
Yeah.
you hold. You're just kind of more prone, I think, to hold water. Period.
Yeah.
So we are now in the peaking process, and I'm already like, it is what it is. We leave tomorrow to, drive down to the show. I'll meet Matt down there. And it's just like and I love it. You know why I love it? Because I'm also known for bringing the wow factor. So now people are gonna see what I look at the guest posing, and they're all like, "Yeah, I don't know, man," and they're gonna be like, "Oh shit." Well, that's that.
So
Hey, so can I ask a question here? Like, I want to know what it was that Steve said, because you said Steve gave you an honest opinion on the phone.
Basically, he said, "Kick it up a notch."
Okay.
No way. No way. Bullshit. Like I've been in your office
Well,
for
see, I
30
value
years.
that because coming from Steve, I was like, "Oh shit!" So then I said it to Matt, and Matt was like, "Bro, you're fine. I promise. Just trust me." I'm like, "All right." And dude, I got home Sunday. I
Yeah.
literally just I got home. I took a shower. I literally just laid in bed, watched movies. I chilled. I woke up like 3 or 4 pounds later. I even sent pictures to Steve that the next morning. I said, "Does this look better?" And he just said, "Yes." I'm like, "Okay, great." So we're already on the right track from a day later. So
Wow.
The one thing about Steve, like I've been in your office, Steve, about 30 years. So
yeah.
he is 100% truthful, but that's what you need. Like I've seen people go in
Well,
there and
that's why I like to ask him because
100%.
Steve will just tell you what you not want to hear sometimes, and it is what
You
it
need
is.
it. And the people that get offended are the people that don't make
Well, why
any
would you
games.
get offended, right? Like you're the one asking the question.
Don't ask me if you don't want an honest answer. Like I had a guy ask me at the
I
gym, I'm not going
respect
to
it
tell you.
because,
Yeah.
well, luckily for me, I don't have anyone in my close circle that's just going to blow smoke up my ass. Like my mom,
That's good.
as everyone probably already knows, is my harshest critic.
Yeah.
She has no problem letting me know if I look like a bag of dog shit or not. So
Yeah.
it is. I'll never forget when I did North Americans. I tell this story all the time. In 2017, we I was with another coach at that show, but we like sucked down way too far. Like we just couldn't carb up. Probably we couldn't come back to life. And I knew it after I got off stage. And we're walking back to the hotel room, quiet. Me, my mom, and my dad, just quiet walk. And she goes, "Nick, you look like shit." And I'm already like not happy as is. And I'm like, you couldn't have waited till maybe like tomorrow when the show was done to kind of say your opinion. Like, I do it right now as I just got off stage. Like, thanks. But that's how she is. And that's probably where I get it from. If it's on her mind right then and there, you're gonna know.
Yeah. My mother used to be like, she'd look at me, she'd go, "You look horrible."
Yeah.
Jeez. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like lit a fire under you. But so Steve, talk about the New York Pro. Like, are there any tickets available still or no?
Tickets still available, yes. We have the prejudging at 8 o'clock, and then that's the 212 bodybuilding and the other classes. And then at 12 o'clock, we have the opened, and then the open finals are at 8, and the other open finals are at 5, and tickets are all available.
And you can live
them on
stream
the
it too,
website,
right?
or they can come right to the show.
Can you live stream it too? Can you buy a stream?
Yes.
I think I saw that on the website. And the
It
website,
is
by the
live
way,
streamable. Right now it's $20.
is in the ticker. I'll put it in the chat too. If anybody's
Thank
interested,
you.
you should definitely go support. It's awesome. I'll put it right now.
Do the winners get a free membership at Bet Francis Powerhouse Gym?
Absolutely. Forever.
They should already have one.
Well, I already won one, so does that count?
You should.
Yes, it
I
does
mean,
count.
Juan Morel always wears the New York Pro ring to the gym,
Yeah,
right?
I don't wear it. I have it around my neck. I wear it around my neck.
Oh,
The thing is too muscular.
Yeah.
Oh man,
So
you're getting a lot.
pretty soon I'll have two around my neck.
nice.
Hey, Nick, let me ask you something. So you say, that Steve really appreciates you being honest, and you got that from your mom, but does it ever kind of come back and make life a little harder because you're everything you do or say at this point gets passed around social or on the no? Oh, that's
I love it.
I think
Nice.
it's
People would say things, right, and they would be like, "Oh shit!" Like now I gotta like deliver on that, and I get like that, but in a good way. Like I think I work better with some type of pressure that I purposely will put on myself when I say things, and it just allows me to work harder because now I have to live up to it. And I always said, win or lose a show, as long as I walked into that show and I looked way better than I did my last show, somebody just was better, there's not much anybody could say. I mean, obviously the end goal is always to win, but as long as I deliver on a package that makes people go, oh shit, you know what I mean? It's a win-win for me regardless. But
Yeah.
I still don't accept defeat. I'm not okay with it.
There's nothing you can do to satisfy everybody. And I think that's where a lot of people, you have to be mentally strong to be a top bodybuilder, because no matter what you look like, Ronnie Coleman, even when he was at his best, people like, well, his abs should be better. Like there's always going to be something. So when you're chasing everybody's,
you can't win. When it comes to the people, you can't win and you never will. And that's one thing I've learned. Just stop trying.
Yeah.
Who cares? Because people are going to like you for you, and that's great. And then you're going to have people that just don't like you. So you just got to accept it. And it is what it is. I'm not here to please anybody. I'm here to be who I am. I'm here to represent, my sponsors the best way I can, the IFBB the best way I can. And if you like me, fantastic. If you don't, I'll still shake your hand anyway. I don't care,
Do you know what you weighed at the guest posing as opposed to what you're going to weigh at the New York Pro, or does that even factor in?
I don't. I mean, right now, I woke up at 260. At the guest posing, I was like 266.
Oh, wow. Okay. And we got John Romano on the bottom. Steve, he wanted to know if he can come to your gym. I told him yes. So you want to give him
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Steve.
Anytime, John.
All right, can I ask what happened? Can I ask what happened here? Because
Am I going to leave
this
in
has
a
come up
body
numerous
bag,
times.
am I going to be able to walk out?
Absolutely.
What happened?
You'll walk in
Why
and you'll
this?
walk out.
What was this animosity? What started this? I gotta know.
It's too involved. It was totally my fault, and I'm sorry.
Oh, there you go.
Apology.
All right,
That's a man right there. Good job.
There it is. All right, fair enough.
So I have a question for Nick, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Frankie, let me squeeze one in. There was a lot of, after the Olympia, there was a lot of, Hottie, Derek. And my position on the
question,
podcast.
yes, I would have won.
Well, that's what I said that. I mean, that was my position on the podcast, is none of you guys would be talking
listen,
about
I
this.
say that with no disrespect toward Hottie or Derek. Hottie looked insane. And I'm sure we can all agree, if Hottie brought the package to the Olympia that he did at the Arnold, my man would have won. That was an insane package. Derek looked insane as well. But, man, excuse me, I know exactly what I was looking like. I knew exactly what I was going to bring to the table. And seeing how those two looked, like, I'm not going to sit here and say I would have won because, at the end of the day, I'm not on stage. No one would, you can't predict it, honestly. But I would have gave them the hardest battle of their entire life. That I am fully sure.
I think you would have won, and I said you would have won. But I want to. My question is the dynamics today. How would they be different? Because you obviously wouldn't be doing the New York Pro, would you? Or what would your
Well,
mindset be now if you were already Mr. Olympia?
if I was, I would be focusing on winning my second one.
So what would be different today about you, your prep, your size, your condition? Would any of that have would have changed based on you carrying the title now?
What do you mean?
So like,
I'm always in shape.
and you guys win the Olympia, right? And then you see them
Yeah.
like the 6 months later, and they're just blown out of proportion. I mean,
Fuck no. Excuse my language, but no, I never get like that. I will never get like that. I like to stay in shape. I don't like to, like, people after I even injured my hamstring. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, Nick's gonna jump into the Arnold." No, I'm not. I'm not healed yet. No, but I stayed in shape because I just don't believe in just getting fat. Do I enjoy food after a show? Absolutely. Who doesn't? We're all human. But you got to construct it in a way to where, like, it doesn't hinder you or your progress, and that's just the way me and Matt do it. And I like to stay in shape. You know, I don't ever want to stay in contest shape. That's just ridiculous. But I always like to stay in striking distance at all times.
So so Steve, you actually, you told this story to about Jay Cutler, remember? And Jay Cutler, you were in a Dunkin' Donuts with Jay Cutler, and you said, "You know what, Jay, if you stay on this, you could be one of the best."
Right.
Now, I asked you in our interview about the Olympia, is there any up and coming competitors that you feel the same way about Jay? And you said Nick.
Mhm.
Right. I think Nick has the same story as Jay. Nick is not genetically gifted with the greatest shape, but he's a hard worker, and he works on that just like Jay did. And that makes him very dangerous. The guy with the best genetics, like a Flex Wheeler, never won because he sort of relied on his genetics all the time. Take somebody like Nick, who's like a Jay that doesn't have it genetically, will make it work because they have everything else. They have the other package complete. They're big, they're muscular, and they work on their shape, which is possible. Proven by Jay and now by Nick.
Yeah.
But I want to ask Nick a couple of questions, just about 3 competitors for the New York Pro. The guy who won last year, what do you think about him, Tonio?
Okay, you want to answer that first?
Yeah, sure.
I think Tonio, obviously Tonio, him being the defender of last year, I think he's dangerous. You know, I honestly really
agree.
do.
He reminds me of
I
Dexter
think
Jackson.
I think he's got great shape. I think he's very bubbly. I know that they're trying to bring him in very, very conditioned, which obviously is always the end goal. But I hope they don't suck him down too much to where it'll affect his his bubbliness a little bit, because I feel like, just like me, Tonio needs to have that full look to really emphasize his physique a lot better.
I agree with that. How about Stu? Beef stew.
I think
Beast.
I think Stu will be good. I honestly do. If he peaks right,
He came second
he's
last year. I
already
mean,
really
it's no joke.
he's already really peeled. He did put on
Right.
some size. So he could definitely be in the mix for top 3 to 4.
And the last one is Martin.
No, I think Martin has improved drastically. I do. I think Martin has a lot of potential. I think Martin's going to look fantastic. I do think he'll look better than what he did at Detroit. But it just won't be enough to take me out.
I think you have a great career when you're done as a bodybuilder, as an announcer. You know that beautifully.
Look, you know what? He said it the right way. Some
He did.
people just
Said it
I
perfect.
can't stand when people come on and, like, there's a couple of bodybuilders, I won't even out them, but all they do is like, I'm gonna win, and they show up, they have no legs, they have no back, and they're like, what are
There's
you
a lot of people
looking
like
at?
that.
Yeah, what are you looking at that everybody else can see that you don't have? I don't get it. Like, they have the wrong people around them or what? But they just make an ass of themselves, saying that they're going to win, and they don't even.
It's funny you say that, because I also think that's why I have the confidence that I do, because I've surrounded myself again with people that don't blow smoke up my ass. Like if I get a compliment from my dad, from my mom, you know, even Steve, Matt, I know it means something. You know what I mean? So when that happens, I'm like, I'm talking shit now. Like we're where we need to be. You know what I mean? You know, I don't. Nobody. I don't. They don't ever like. Even when they send me a compliment, with one compliment, I'll get like 6 different critiques. You know what I mean? So it's never like just a compliment. And I, you know, in the beginning when I started this, I'm like, damn, like I don't know if I can handle all this critique.
Yeah.
But now I value it and I understand it, and I realize it's critique to help me get better. So I take it and I apply it, and whatever I'm told that needs to improve on, I improve on it. You know, does things take a little longer than normal? Yes. Like my outer sweeps, do they still need work? Yes, I will firmly say that. But do I think they have come up a lot? Yes, I do think that. My chest was always a weak point. I think that's come up a lot. I think my back has come up a lot. Whatever somebody says you need to work on this, I'm on it literally like that same day, you know?
Nick, can I ask you a couple non-bodybuilding questions? And this is rapid fire. These are really tough. These are going to require an insane amount of thought. The first one is pancakes or
I'm not in
waffles?
school anymore.
Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Okay. Zombies or vampires?
Let me explain why though. I'm
please,
more
yeah.
of a pancake guy, but the only reason why I would pick a waffle is because the waffle doesn't soak up the syrup and then it becomes dry like it does with a pancake.
That is a good point.
You can make waffles crunchy, and you can't
think
do
about
that.
it.
Yes.
You could drench all this syrup on your pancake, right? You take one bite, maybe getting a bit of a combo, and then it's all soaking up. And you're like, what? I gotta do more.
You gotta throw a half a pound of butter on top of that too. Otherwise, what's the point?
All right, we'll stick with these tough questions. Zombies or vampires?
Zombies.
No, you're not because of like a Walking Dead, or you just don't like vampire stuff.
I think vampires just not my cup of tea.
Gotcha.
Say that.
All right.
How could you not be a vampire? You can like turn
I'm a
into
zombie.
anything. Like you kill people, bite
You ever
them.
see the movie Dawn of the Dead?
Yes.
Zombies be running and shooting people. Like I'm going zombie mode, bro.
Yeah, but vampires could have like sex with women, can't they? But zombies
I
can't.
think so. Yeah.
Zombies are falling off. Pieces are falling off of zombies. You can't.
That's true. Yeah.
When I'm in prep, bro, I'm not really having sex anyway, so I'll be a zombie. I don't care.
We heard it here.
Yeah. Okay, spicy food. Love it or leave it?
How spicy though?
You tell me.
I'd probably leave it. I'm not a spice guy.
Me neither. I'm with you. I feel like Romano is because he cooks. So I feel like
I don't
anybody that
mind
cooks
like
like
a
spice.
little tang, but if I had to pick, I'm gonna go no spice.
Yeah.
Steve, what about you? You like spice?
No, not at all. I'm plain eater.
Me too. Frank, you?
I hate bad breath.
Bro, I don't want to shit. I don't want to shit fire. No.
No, I don't like it.
All right, and we'll do
in Mexico. Well, go ahead.
No, man. Go ahead. In Mexico,
I would say that there's a saying in Mexico. It's called "paga dos veces," which means you pay twice. So if the food is really hot, you pay going in and coming out.
Okay.
The risk to reward's not worth it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're gonna pay it again in a minute.
And the last one, and then we can give your brain a break on this because I know these are rough for everybody, for myself included. I do put a lot of thought into this. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I'm morning, bro. I'm in bed by like 9 or 10. You know, I love the mornings.
Steve?
I'm a night person.
Yeah.
Frank?
You're up now.
Yeah.
I only sleep 3 hours a night. I don't know. I've got weird. I'm up. I sleep with one eye open.
How about you, Romano?
I don't know.
I don't sleep. I'm up late all the time.
Whew, man, I don't stay up late. I'm with you. I'm in bed by 9 if I can help it any day of the week.
I like it's something about just being up when the sun rises, getting the day started. I like it, man.
That's
Every now and then I catch myself having to get up early, and that's true. It's the mornings are really nice, but not.
When I
nice
used to
enough
live in
wake
Florida,
up.
I loved to just kind of get up, sit on my back porch, have a little coffee, and just kind of relax before I do cardio. It was nice, man.
See, someone's knocking on Steve's door right now. Can you take a look at me? I'm 684 weeks out. What do you think?
It's like I had a question for Steve too. Well, there he is coming back.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when
There
every
was
year,
someone blocking the driveway.
I thought it was some guy who was 684 weeks out and wanted you to look at him.
No. No, I wasn't answering the door for a knock. I'm looking out the window and I'm seeing the Orientals that have the roofing place got their truck blocked the whole driveway.
As somebody who's never put together or promoted a bodybuilding contest before, is there something that every time you do it, is there something that you're like dreading? Like one thing that you're like, oh shit.
I dread the whole day. I'm dreading the whole day. I'm waiting for something to go wrong, something to happen, someone to say something. From morning to night, I'm always on alert.
Okay.
How Steve, how long does that last, that pre-contest angst?
It lasts until Sunday afternoon when I replay everything over in my head.
But starting when? How long do you deal with that kind of intensity?
This week now, everyone's coming to the gym. It's Weasel Week. It started on Monday.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm gonna start saying that now.
Weasel Week. I like that better. I hate peak week. I'd rather have
now when I get ready for the Olympia, I'm like, we're in Weasel Week, baby.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got the 60th anniversary of the Mr. Olympia this year in Vegas, which is going to be absolutely crazy. So talk about, Nick, the first time that you competed at the Olympia. I mean, it had to be like, for any up and coming bodybuilder, it had to be amazing that you made it to the Olympia. So talk about, getting on stage and.
Well, you would think that, but I'm very, I'm very competitive, and believe it or not, I wanted to win my first Olympia. I knew, like, obviously it's hard to win your first one, right? But like that was the mindset. And with the year that I had that year, I was in prep the whole year. I won New York, and then I won the Arnold, and then 2 weeks later was my first Olympia. So at the same time, mentally, I was excited, but fried. Like I was just pretty much I was fried. So to say I enjoyed my first Olympia, I'd probably be lying, which I regret, because at the time I was just so tunnel vision of just wanting to get it in, get done. I want to win this thing. I want to, I want to set records. And I should have kind of more taken a step back and just kind of enjoyed the moments of my first Olympia. But my second Olympia, when I got third, I really let that one kind of sink in and enjoyed and just kind of was being in the moment. And I think that's what a lot of people, when you have goals, especially in bodybuilding, I think you have a hard time being in the moment. And that's one thing I'm learning and trying to do, and just kind of have more fun with it and not be so serious and so like all the time. Because that's my life. It is what it is. But I need to learn to just kind of embrace everything a little more and have a little bit more fun. And I think that's, I was able to do that a lot last year, this year, and I just want to keep carrying that out. And I do think at the end of the day, it makes me a better person and a better bodybuilder as well.
Now, Steve, you're judging it, right? So this is
I'm not judging it.
The Olympia.
I judged you last week. This week I'm not judging.
The Olympia. No, I know you're
the Olympia, of course. Yeah,
you never judge
New York Pro. Right.
No. You
I'm
never
sorry.
judge. I know you're in the back. You're in the back.
Yes. waiting for disasters.
Yeah, pretty much. But the Olympia you're judging, right? 60th anniversary, and we had a long discussion, Zach, you and I, about the Olympia memories and stuff. But I want to know, what's your best memory of the New York Pro? You've had it a long time now, so do you have a certain moments from the New York Pro that stand out?
The first year, honestly, that was, I was really worried because it was the first time running the show, coming off that other show, the NOC. I wanted to make sure it was at least as good, if not better. So, I mean, I was concerned. This first show, honestly, that was 2005.
I think I judged that show, and I won't say which bodybuilder. He was complaining to me after the show about his placing, and he just wouldn't shut up.
The show?
What? He just wouldn't shut up, and I'll leave it at that.
Hey, Steve, so you told us about the first Olympia where like the bathrooms were overflowing and stuff like
That was
that.
in '84 when Sergio,
Yeah.
'84 when Sergio made his comeback, and Lee Haney won his first Olympia.
Right.
The New York Pro that stands out to me was when you had Victor Martinez, right, and Juan going at it.
Yes,
That was a good battle. That was a good
battle. Yeah,
Yeah, that was good. That's a really good show. I mean, that's only Zach. It's one of the few. I don't know if any. It's one of the few standalone shows, right, with no NPC show attached to it.
I think it's the only one left, honestly.
The only one, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Steve,
go ahead, John.
Go, John.
Thanks. We haven't seen a dynasty, an Olympia dynasty since Phil.
I don't think we ever will. I really think
That's what I
those
was
days
just going to
are
ask.
over.
Do you think the dynasties are over?
I think these guys are too good now and they're too close. And years ago, these guys were so far ahead of the competitors, they could mess up and still look great. You mess up now, you pay for it. These guys are so close. I mean, between 1 and 5 is, depending on condition, it could be anyone's show.
Yeah, especially on Instagram.
Instagram, we don't look at
That's
Instagram.
true.
It doesn't matter. I don't care what you look like on Instagram, on Facebook, or anywhere. It's what you look like at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock. Whenever we start prejudging, I don't care what you look like at 6 in the morning. 9 a.m. is what I care what you look like. So all that pre-publicity stuff doesn't work.
Social media has obviously changed the game of everything, right? So, like at the Pittsburgh Pro,
I know. I like the magazines better, honestly.
You never had classic physique there, right? So now you have the top 3 classic physique guys, and collectively they have a following of like over 30 million people, like with Bumstead and Urs
Classic
and
physique is
Romano.
huge.
And then you have the bodybuilding, right? That has, well, Hadi wasn't there, but and Derek is under 6 million, right? But where are these fans coming from Bumstead? Like the 10 million, 10 million or half of that, like where are they coming from? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just
It blows my mind. I can't believe. I mean, he's a well-built, popular guy, but I don't get it, honestly. I really don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I can't believe how popular he is.
There's a lot of well-built, popular guys. Why is he that insanely popular? What lines or borders is he crossing that is attracting that amount of people?
Yeah,
I can tell you.
Mostly, it's a lot of young kids. It's like high school kids and college kids. That's where his market is, really.
I'll tell you. It's because Chris is Chris. Chris is real. Chris is him. What you see on the internet is what you get in public. And the physique that he has is a very, I don't want to say obtainable because you can't exactly look like that, but it's a physique that is reachable. Yeah. And people admire physiques that are more reachable and relatable. And, when he goes on his social media, he goes on his YouTube, he's not afraid to show emotion. He's not afraid to be himself. And people relate to that, you know?
He's a nice guy. He's a good ambassador for this. I'm just saying, you never had that kind of a reach, like especially now how things are changing or progressing. Like for the Pittsburgh Pro now, the classic physique guys are coming on strong, and then you have the Derek who came from 212, and John always makes the point: if Derek went to classic, he'd be the only guy to win 212 classic and the open bodybuilding.
Bodybuilding hat trick.
Is it possible?
He ain't making weight.
Exactly. Not now, anyway.
I don't know what he would be for classic, but he can't even make 212 anymore. You know what I mean? Like, hell no.
Gotta take a couple of years off.
He would, but that would be
like 7 years off.
he'd still be younger than
train, bro. Just don't train.
Well, what's her name? Was it Juliana Melicarni, right? When she won a women's physique Olympic, she was eating 500 calories a day and she was training legs like once a week or whatever because she couldn't fit it. Like she get too big. Like, certain people have to really take it to, the next step to fit into that class, to fit into a specific look or a class. It's crazy. You know, lucky you're an open bodybuilder.
Yeah, I don't gotta worry about that. You know.
So Steve, just quickly talk about how many other classes that people don't know and stuff, because we're on Muscle Fitness Flex Olympia, about other classes and divisions that you have at the.
We
at
have
the New
every
York
division,
Pro.
which, once again, we've never had these divisions. It was only the last few years that Jim Mannion developed these divisions for every body type to compete. I mean, you could be any body you have, there's a division for you to compete in, whether it's bikini, women's physique, figure, wellness. There's fitness. There's for men, you've got, if you don't you want that beach body, you've got physique. Then you got classic physique. Then you got 212. Then you got the open. I mean, anyone could, if you really want to compete, there's classes for you to compete in.
In Brazil,
We
you
have
got
every
men's
class in the New York
wellness.
Pro except for fitness.
That's right.
In Brazil,
yeah.
you have men's
Fitness
wellness.
doesn't draw.
Steve.
You know, I ran fitness. We have 2 girls that show up. It's, it's ridiculous. It's a waste of time. I mean, if we had more support from the girls, I'd run it, but we don't get that many girls.
No, John's saying one of the questions is they said Derek could stop training, go down to Brazil, and compete in men's wellness. There is no men's wellness.
Yeah, there was this year.
This is John being John. This is John being John.
I'm just asking because there was one
You're
this
just
year.
starting fucking shit again.
He almost made it. You almost fucking made it, John.
Almost. What do we got? 2 minutes to go?
Only
You can't
because
help
there was
yourself.
a men's wellness show this year.
If there
and
was a men's
somebody won
wellness
it.
show, if there was a men's bikini show, you would be the champion.
Over 60?
You gotta be masters.
Yeah, over 60.
You don't even have to shave.
Well, we do have Shadowback does have a question for Nick, and he asks, can you ask Nick what key exercises he did to bring his legs up for New York and eventually the Olympia? Also, does Steve have any advice for Nick to compete against Derek?
I honestly, I just think when it came to the leg training, I started obviously doing a lot more full range of motion, lightening the weight and just contracting the muscles as hard as I can. But it's also exercise selection. You know, it's finding, like I said, I'm a during age trainer, so I find 3 or 4 movements that I connect with the best of my abilities, and I stick with them, and I just continue to progress with them, and I think that's helped my legs a lot.
Cool. Okay, and Steve, is there let me see, the second half of that was, does Steve have any advice for Nick to compete against Derek? We may have covered this before, but I'll throw it in there anyway.
I think what he's doing is the right thing. I mean, he's putting on muscle in the areas which help show his shape, like the width of his back, the sweep on his thighs, the cap on his delts. These are the things that make his waist look smaller. And honestly, I saw a back double bicep of him. It reminded me of the underwear shots of Dorian. It really did. The deep, thick muscularity in that. I mean, I don't know if you got a picture of it. You could show it. It was very impressive. It really was. But it's going to come down to conditioning. We know Nick has muscle, but he's got to bring the conditioning.
Nick, have you ever trained at Bev's gym yet?
Yeah, of course. I love that gym.
Okay. Yeah.
If I was to ever live in New York, I would make sure I train there every day.
Some of the cool moments, Steve, is when I got to train with you and Dorian when I was like 21, 22.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's when Dorian was Dorian.
And Dorian was Dorian. And I remember when some kid came up to him, he goes, "Can I ask you a question?" And Dorian was like 2 weeks out. He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Go ahead." The guy goes, "Do you chew what kind of gum do you chew in the off season, or do you chew gum in the off season or a contest time?" And Dorian just looked at him and he goes, "I chew sugarless gum at pre-contest." And the kid was like, "Really?" Like, it was the biggest thing. I was like, what? The kid had one question. He asked him about what kind of gum he chewed, but and Dorian just was like, "Yeah, sugarless or something." I was like, wow, what is this? But those sessions were brutal.
He trained. He trained.
Like, Dorian was laser focused back then.
Yep.
He'd have every plate on the leg press, and as a 21-year-old trying to keep up with him, it was like, forget it. I was like 280 myself, and I was like, Jesus, the guy was like a machine. He just was laser focused. And yeah, you were right, Steve. He picked certain movements, right? Like the reverse bent over row is his thing.
Yeah.
Like he put 405 on it with no problem, but
hammer pull down, the Nautilus pull over.
Yep. The pullover, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he
To
loves
this
the
day,
pullover.
those videos he did with Leroy Davis, they're
Yeah, in
the
his
most
gym in England.
motivating. Oh man, they give me chills.
He was the first one that did a real video, not worrying about, hi guys, we're going to do back now. He just said, I'm going to train, you follow me, and that was what he did.
That's the shit I miss, man. I love watching.
That's as real as it gets, honestly. That's as real as it gets.
But if
He
He was the first one to do that.
I don't want to hear you talk, bro. Just train.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true.
Exactly. I know what you're doing, and I don't need to hear you say it.
Exactly.
Do you think Leroy Davis and Dorian made a good training team?
They did. They were two lunatics.
Yeah.
They were a very good team.
Sadistic lunatics.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, if they were social back then, they would have been like, well, Dorian, you know, you need to get a fuller range of motion, and you should really do the to do one-arm dumbbell rows this way. It's just so I can't.
You ever see Jay Cutler work dumbbells on his biceps? It's the worst form ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got these huge arms. I mean, it's just honestly, it's what works for you.
With Muscle and Fitness, we all have these performance coaches, right?
Right.
And they're all, you know, talking about squat form. And it's like nails on a chalkboard because they're saying, well, bodybuilders don't know how to squat. And I'm like, Ronnie Coleman doesn't know how to squat, but his legs are 25 times bigger than
right. That 800 pounds didn't go up and down automatically.
Yeah,
exactly.
Everything is so science now, and I honestly I fucking hate it because I feel like because the science of everyone's trying to do the whole this R&R bullshit, this that it takes away from what really matters, and it's intensity. If you don't have intensity, nothing's gonna happen. You know what I mean?
That's right.
They have
I'm all about intensity. I'm not saying you got to train to like fucking the ultimate failure to where like your shit isn't recovered for 3 weeks here, but like fucking train, man. Like
people don't like to go through that pain period, and there's electronics now. We just came from a show, and they're like they do everything for you. Like, well, I could tell tomorrow if you're not at 100%. I'm like, you can't tell yourself. You need a ring. Like, I don't know.
You don't know me, bro. You don't know me, you stupid app.
The ring told me I should only bench 315 today.
Hey, Nick, I have a question about, so as you get more popular and you gain popularity as a bodybuilder and after you become pro and people start to know you, does that fit with your personality when people are constantly coming up to you, especially when you're either competing or at the gym, or is it something that you had to kind of force yourself to embrace, right? Because you're not somebody who can hide necessarily, so people recognize they come up to you.
Listen, I have two answers. I embrace it. I love it. It's a very humbling feeling. It never gets old, when people want to take a picture with you or you inspire people. That's probably one of the greatest feelings, in the world, and it always will be. That being said, this is my job too. So if I'm training, don't bother me. Wait till I'm done. That's all I can say. Well, just wait till I'm done. That's all I ask.
Exactly.
But that makes so much sense.
Didn't even have to ask that.
You're working.
Sense.
Yeah, you're working.
Just common sense.
100% right.
But
you shouldn't even have to ask.
Somebody does come up to me during a workout, I'm never rude.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you when I'm done. I'm done in a little while.
I will always take a picture, but if somebody then, we get a picture and they're like, so I got a question. I'm like, nah, ask me later. We're not, I'm busy.
How do I get rid of the fat on my elbow? They're going to ask you something.
Like off season, I'll talk a little, whatever, you know what I mean? But like now, right? Like when I come down to North Jersey and we're training at Bev's or training at Signature, you already know it's going to be a madhouse. I have a job to do now. Like this is that time where you just have that little bit of respect and wait till I'm done. That just is what it is.
Is Nick allowed to use a tripod at Bev Francis Powerhouse?
Yes, he is. If you have a reasonable request and you ask for it, we'll give it to you. We just don't want 75 people in here with tripods filming everything like they're rock stars.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or the skinny noodles taking off their shirt.
Exactly.
Right.
Hitting a double bicep. And there's no biceps.
They're also bringing.
How about you go work out first? Come on.
Exactly.
They're bringing lighting now. They bring their own lighting now too. They got the tripod, the light.
You're right.
They got a whole studio set up.
Yep.
Takes them longer to set that up than they could have done 3 exercises already.
And then they got to look at the exercise and they got to make sure they like the exercise and they might want to do the exercise again to catch it better on film.
This wasn't
then they
good lighting.
post
I
it.
got to redo the set.
Exactly.
You know, it would be awesome to see Nick at the put Nick on the spot at the Bev Francis NPC workshop with Jay Cutler and everybody. People would love to hear from.
Yeah, no, definitely. We'll definitely bring him up. Definitely. He's guest
that's
clothing
in
at the
what?
Atlantic States too.
Yeah,
June 1st.
Oh, cool.
they would
Did you
love
make
it.
a poster for that yet, or did I miss it?
Yes, I did. I'll bring him some to you when I see you this week.
Yeah. Okay.
The nice poster,
I wanna-
green
I wanna
background.
promote that.
All right. Hey,
Thank
Steve, there's a question for you from Blue Collar Bodybuilding. He says, can you ask Steve, is it true that the NPC is emphasizing fullness and roundness over like overly conditioning in the amateur ranks? I see what you're getting at, Blue Collar, but
Well, if you're overly conditioned and you lost muscle mass, then roundness and fullness will beat you. But if you're round and full and in condition, that's an unbeatable package.
Yep. Absolutely.
And another one, and this is something I wondered too. This is EP09. I said it right the first time. Thank God. The New York Pro is in New Jersey. I always wondered why that is.
It used to be in New York, but New York got too expensive, just like the New York Jets and the New York Giants play in the Meadowlands.
Right.
The difference in fees, you'll pay $20,000 in New Jersey, you'll pay $50,000 in New York. That's why it's in New Jersey.
With a smaller place, less backstage, and everything else.
Free parking, more than enough room. It makes more sense. I'd love to be in New York, but New York is just so expensive. The hotels, the Marriott, you could book a hotel for $120. In New York, you could book a hotel for $400. It's crazy, and it's not even a nice hotel.
Riddle me this, Batman. Why is there so few bodybuilders in New York now? Because they're all out because it's so friggin' expensive.
Can't afford to live there.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
That's why. You know?
That's why they all left California too.
Yep.
Yeah. Everyone's going to Vegas.
We got another one for Nick.
Vegas and Florida is one of the
Big
two.
spot, yeah.
We got one for Nick. Does Nick have a clothing line or a clothing line that he represents?
I do. I have my Walker Nation clothing line, and I'm also sponsored by Alpha Elite.
Oh, okay.
There you have it. So you could probably go to Nick's Instagram. I'm sure there's ways to.
Yeah, I got links for all that stuff everywhere.
So if you're gonna buy something, go buy it through him, man. Come on. I mean, the guy's volunteering his time to hang out with us today. So, and same with Steve. Go and buy the live stream for the New York Pro. Come on, stop being so cheap.
He's in prep now, so we'll give him final words. You know, he's got some shit to do right now.
I know. We've kept him here hostage long enough. Yeah. So. Anything else we got to know or you want us to know, Steve, about, either about the New York Pro, about anything coming up, and same with you, Nick. Anything that we can...
May 18th, this Saturday, come down, Teaneck, and then June 1st, 2 Saturdays from the New York Pro, Nick is going to guest pose at the Atlantic States, so you can get a little more up close and personal when he's eating a little more food, and actually take a picture with him and get it 8x10 or whatever, his clothing, he'll be there.
Where's the venue for the Atlantic States, Steve?
The same as the New York Pro. Teaneck.
Oh, okay.
I pretty much use it for everything because it's one exit off the George Washington Bridge.
Oh, wow, it's convenient then.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a nice place. It's close. It's a good place. More importantly, someone just came up with a groundbreaking question here. Has Nick or Steve tried Frank Zappi's protein treat?
I did. I love it. It's great.
I
we sell it in the gym. It sells out as soon as we put it in.
Plug.
You have?
It's a shameless world.
What flavors here?
He's got more coming out, but right now it's like a marshmallow crispy, you know?
Rice Krispie. We sold out 10 times at Bev so far?
Honestly, it really sells. It's the best selling bar in here. I'm not saying that because Frank's my friend. It's a great tasting bar.
I do love Rice Krispies.
It's a great bar. I'm sure I'll bring some to the show for you.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, and the last one is for Romano, by the way. Natalia has been on me to ask this. What is in your cup?
Coffee.
Okay. I thought it was water. I thought it was water. I mean, this is the kind of...
And you'd all like to know this is a Mr. G cup that went in the dishwasher once, and now it has no graphic on it anymore.
So these are the mysteries we uncover here. What's in his cup? What kind of do you like vampires? Like this is the true.
Covered it all.
Yeah, we cover everything.
Probably should have said rum. That would have been a better answer.
Well, look, I'm going out. Nick's gonna win. I was a pro judge for 15 years. Nick's gonna win. I'm going out on a limb. Not because he's here, because I would be honest. There's bodybuilders I made cry by telling me you're not going to make the top 16 at the Olympia. One of my honest opinion. But Nick's going to win. I look forward to the show. Everyone get the live stream. And if you haven't been to Bev's, I don't know what's wrong with you. It's the best gym, best energy. And this is a week. Weasel Week is the best week. Come and annoy all the bodybuilders and competitors who are training to get ready for the New York Pro. So as long as you pay that daily.
Yep. Come on in.
Awesome. Well, look, thank you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Look, we had
a great time. I loved it.
Hope you have fun.
Yeah,
we try to make it
fun,
like as light as
actually. Thank you,
possible.
guys.
And that was awesome,
Very
man.
light.
Thank you guys.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
thank you
Good
guys.
luck,
Thank
Nick.
you.
Good luck, Nick.
All
Thank
right.
you, Steve.
All right, everybody.
luck,
Thanks
Nick.
for the comments. We're going to wrap this up. Take it easy, and
All
we'll
right.
see you Thursday. Bye.